Hello, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's round number 5, the final round of season 6. That's what I was trying to say here, of More Female Racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG. The 6th season coming to a close tonight. We've been all around the world. We've been to Belgium for Zolder, we've been to England for Silverstone, Italy for Imola, all the way over to the US of A for Watkins Glen, and tonight we are over to the virtual recreation in South Africa of Kyalami circuit here, a wonderful, wonderful staple of international GT3 racing. 2.85 miles long is the Grand Prix circuit, and so many stories to talk to you about tonight. I am, of course, David Christie, jumping in for the incredible Ash Vandelay, who cannot make it, is over in America, and just coming back from Indianapolis, I believe. So very, very jealous of that amazing race last night. But that means I get the awesomeness of jumping in with Sam Pearce tonight. Sam, great to be jumping on the comms with you for another night of racing here, but a lot at stake in this championship.
Good evening, David. Yeah, it's still all to play for throughout the championship. Looking at the championship standings this afternoon, still lots of really, really, really close battles for positions. Now, Honora Rose has clinched that P1 position in the pro class due to Alexa Gates having to sign out of tonight's race. But further down the grid, there's going to be quite a tasty battle for that final podium spot between Sarah Dove, Denise Pope, and Penelope Dobbins, close on the heels of that battle as well. And then in the AM class, just as close with currently 12 points between Lisa Louise up on the top spot, Maya Lafurla, but everything really, really close below that, right down to P5. Everyone being in a chance for that final podium position in the AM class. So lots to battle with tonight on what I think is a fantastic track. One of my favorites on the calendar. My eyes are going to be firmly fixed on Cheetah throughout the race. You get that corner right, and you're golden coming into then the final corner. So love this track.
It is a wonderful, wonderful track, albeit that I put my hype in the other direction last week for the track vote. Talking of hype, Tetranomicon join us in the YouTube chat, as is Shep Cameron, as Teal's #1 fan. Now, we do have to have a little bit of an explanation, because we have an old face who has changed their name this week, and it's great to see that we're still sort of getting everybody in and sorted out. But basically, join us is Teodora Kasanovic. I will butcher that name several times. That was formerly Erisifelion. But Teodora has had a pretty sensational season this season, and going to be looking to make some headway out there tonight, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's currently sitting only 1 point behind Maya Lafurla, so definitely battling out for the #2 position in AM. And who knows if they have a really, really good race out tonight, maybe even a little bit of a fight for P1. So like we said, it's all to play for tonight, and there's no further rounds, so it's do or die tonight.
Certainly is. Well, first things first, we have to congratulate and celebrate our brand new pro champion with Alexa Gates withdrawing from tonight's race. That confirms, as we said, Honora Rose as our pro champion on 138 points coming into tonight's race. That will very likely skyrocket up into what can only probably be 190 points potentially from tonight. But the AM battle, that is what is looking very, very tasty, and that is what we have got out there just now, because it is the AM qualifying session that has just started. As you said there, Sam, just about 20 odd points, 16 points actually, 17 points, separating first to fourth place. Then you've got Catherine Rosie. Now, Catherine Rosie is in an unenviable position. It's still mathematically possible, very, very unrealistic to see that happening. However, we both know, Sam, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, and anything can change within literally a split second on a racetrack. And, with Kyalami being what it is, those split-second changes can definitely happen here. There are some corners that have some pretty monstrous curves. So, getting just one wheel wrong around here can quite easily spur you into a wall and change absolutely everything. So it's really, really interesting and really fascinating to see how the combination of tight championship points, final round of the season, and such an interesting technical racetrack all combined together. It's going to be interesting to see how all those ingredients thrown into a cauldron, mixed together, and what brew we're going to get out of it tonight. It's going to be really fascinating.
Well, it's certainly going to be one to watch throughout the evening. It looks like YouTube chat is well and truly hyped up and amped up for this AM battle just now, but early times coming in with the first cars just getting across to start their timed lap here. And again, with this qualifying session split into two, essentially, we get 15 minutes for AM, 15 minutes for Pro here. It makes it so important to get that banker lap in nice and early, Sam, doesn't it? To get a time on the board and then push it wherever possible.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm very, very conscious of when I go into a qualifying session. Just get a time on the board, even if it's a crap time. It takes some pressure off and allows you to then settle in and say, okay, I at least have a time. I'm not going to start at the absolute back. And, then you've got a little bit of freedom to start pushing the boundaries little by little by little. But it just, if you get that clean lap in, you get a time on the boards, you're halfway there. So you can relax and possibly, I find, push a little bit harder than you can if you push, all out straight out of the gate and keep invalidating. Because then the stress keeps mounting and mounting. You get more frustrated, make more mistakes, and it just snowballs. So getting a time lap in right from the beginning just makes things so much easier.
And of course, stress is not your friend for getting fast laps in, because putting that pressure on yourself will really saying that, some people do respond very well under pressure.
Yep.
I am not one of them. I crumble like a very cheap suit when I'm under pressure. However, what we're going to find out very shortly as Charlotte Robertson comes across the line here, 145.6. Now, I am expecting to see that come massively down as Theo jumps into first position with a 143.7, but given those are our first laps coming in that are timed laps, again I would expect to see those times coming down very quickly indeed. One of the things we also have to talk about, Sam, is that it's a much reduced field out there tonight. We can't sort of miss that. There's only 16 cars connected to the season. Now, from experience, this is obviously a very normal thing that we see. It's unfortunately it's league racing. It does tend to happen where, if you're not in it, then people will decide to go and spend the time elsewhere. But also had quite a few withdrawals this week, either through injury or through travel, or even if we look to Ash's case, where she was away to Indy at the weekend as well. So real life carries on.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things I think that contribute to this towards the end of a championship season, that some people have the mindset of, oh, I'm just so many points behind, why should I bother? The fact that it is, it's starting to come into summer, people are starting to go away. Certainly here in the UK, I think schools are out now, so people are starting to go on day trips and various things like that, and life does happen, as well as injuries, not feeling very well, and all of that stuff. So lots and lots of things can contribute to it. But at the same time, it is kind of an unfortunate, and having smaller grids towards the end of a season. I try to look at the bright side. I look for silver linings in pretty much everything. It means if you are part of a championship like this, you are getting a bit of drop off towards the end. It's easy points for you if you stick around. If you come and go right to the very end of a championship, there's less cars in a server. There's more points to go around, and easy to get a leg up. So stick with it.
I was just about to jump in and say on top of that, Sam, that adds us really, or brings us really nicely into our Pro Championship there, where we're talking about Alexa Gates, who has withdrawn from tonight. That now leaves Sarah Dove and Denise Pope in a very interesting opportunity where they're mathematically possible to actually jump and get that second place. So, again, keep an eye on them. But again, for that AM battle, that's what I'm kind of looking at here. That is some huge points on the cards tonight. The other thing is, do you think things are going to get a little bit more firm, shall we say, with the fighting with the AMs because it's the last round, or do you think things will be very much as they were?
I don't think it's going to be as you were. I do think a lot of people who are here are going to be aware of how close they are in points. They are going to be aware that these are the last points that are available in the season. So quite often in previous rounds we see the second race of the evening being a little bit feistier than the first. I think we're going to see that overall for tonight. It's the last round of the season, not just the last race of the evening. So I do think that's going to continue to play out. So I don't think anyone is going to be stupid. Fingers crossed.
I'm clipping that one, Sam. I am clipping that comment right here.
But I do expect racing to be a little bit feistier, especially in that AM class, because it all is to play for. 1 or 2 points can make the difference in a place. So yeah, I think it's going to be very, very hotly contested, and slightly more so than it has been. So yeah, I think.
I'm gonna rephrase that, Sam. Are we gonna see hands getting thrown tonight?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, there we go. That's better.
Yeah, I do.
A little bit of an amusing story coming in from a late breaking news story from YouTube chat. Skylar is joining us. Skylar Vixen in the 660 Pro car just remembered in time that the race was on. They were working on their car, so let's use that to distract us from the fact that Maya Laferla just did a wonderful three-turn spin there, coming out halfway around the course there. Carrie Burton watched the race today, but broke her wheel in half. That is...
Oh, wow.
That's brutal.
That takes some going.
Hang on, I was about to say, how? Like, if you're in an ACC public lobby, absolutely my heart goes out to you. I completely understand. Like, the rage is real, but...
Yes, like the taco. Oh my god.
I mean, I've punched my wheel a few times in stress, but yeah, in half, that's...
Yeah, that's impressive. That is impressive. Well done.
That leaves me with so many more questions than answers, though. Carrie, what happened? I mean, we have to know we have to know the background here. That's
was this in anger, or was it like just a? I mean, I can't see how that could be a technical failure, but wow, tough racing, yeah.
I mean, I'd be
tough.
If it happened during racing, because they've said tough racing. If it was just during racing, I'd be taking photos and putting it all over social media. You didn't hear that from me. And
cheap sparkling.
Get in touch with support, because they're usually really awesome. It's been really weird. Right? I've had a couple of issues with my sim rig over the years, like with different parts of it, and I've just emailed support of whatever brand it's been, and they've just been, yeah, okay, give us your address and we'll just send you a new one. It's like, wait, what now? You're not even going to ask if I actually bought it. You're just going to say, yeah, okay, happy days.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well, and it seems to be something that's quite systemic throughout the sim racing community, that companies that support the sim racing community, whether it be software, whether it be hardware, tech, and everything like that, they are all really, really, open and supportive of racers, and they just want, and it's almost like there's an innate passion that if you're involved in the sim racing community as a business, you do it because you're passionate about it. You're racers yourselves, and it seems to show through. And yeah, I've had similar experiences. My husband has had similar experiences. Anything goes wrong with any of our rigs or our hardware or tech, then just reach out to these companies. They're so willing to help.
Yeah, we
So it's
might
great.
be a bit optimistic on that one. It was an aftermarket mods that they got off of a dubious site, a knockoff Sparco wheel. Funnily enough, I've seen a video of where they tested out these knockoff wheels, and it's scary what happens to them. It's fine if you're in the sim rig, but could you imagine using it in a real car? Mila Ferla, hang on a second, hold the phones.
What?
143.367. As I mean, that was looking like it was an exhibition qualifying session there for the brand new number 939 car of Teodora Kasanovic, because it was just purple lap for Teo, and then Maya comes out of absolutely nowhere and pops into pole position.
Yeah, but you see the gap, 5/1000ths of a second of a gap, difference between them. So it's close, super close.
Yeah, that is very close indeed. I don't think we've heard the last from Teo, so we'll keep an eye on that as we're watching the number 3 car right now, just heading their way around the circuit of Trazione Integrale. Again, probably butchered that name terribly. But down in 7th position, again, it won't be hard to improve on that lap time just now, 149.027. And any improvements that they can make, again, I'm very curious to see that qualifying time there for the number 13 car of Catherine Rosie down there in 6th position. We've seen Catherine doing very well in qualifying earlier on, but as you said, still a couple of minutes left to go in qualifying here. We could see some decent times coming in. Tell me I didn't just see that on the back of Trizione's car. AWD, all waifu drive. Sam, what is the world coming to?
I missed it. I was looking at the timing board. I completely missed it. Sorry.
Just be glad. I'm not going to taint your ears with what I just saw, but never mind. Right.
I'm going to be watching the back of her car now. And
yeah,
I've
massively overhyped it. That's all that I've done. Okay. We're watching Teo going around the final half of the circuit. Then 143.372. 3/10 up at the moment. That could be a huge time. The thing is that how often do we see this, and we see the AM's doing a really good job, and then the pros come out and Honor Rose takes like 2 seconds immediately off the time.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really disrespectful.
It's what you expect being in a server with an alien driver like Honor Rose, but let's not take away from what these AM drivers are able to put in. And as we say that, Teodora has now taken 2/10 out of Maya Laferla's time.
Well, let's go. The battle commences then. This is going to be awesome going into turn 1 with these two. In fact, Lisa Louise on the pace as well. I think what I'm finding very impressive from Teodoro though is the consistency, because that was 143.7, 143.7, 143.4, 143.4, and then 143.1. That is like really impressive consistency, and I wonder if that is going to pay dividends come into the actual race.
Yeah, I'd be interested to find out how much practice Teodora's been putting in the past 2 weeks, getting ready for this race, to try and build up that level of consistency. If it's a track that she just naturally does well at. So yeah, be interested to have a chat with Teodora to find out what sort of practice they've been doing. So now it's Pro's turn.
Yeah, the lions are unleashed here, sir. And I mean, they look quite menacing when they all come out of the pit lane like that. Oh, yeah. Was that somebody off already? Was that Sarah Duff?
I know that was Sarah Duff, I think, returning. Oh, it might have been. Yeah,
I think she binned it on pit exit. We'll just glaze over that. It's fine. It's fine. Absolutely fine. Oh, there you go. Teodoro Kasanovic at 143.102. That is a shot across the bow and a marker if ever there was one. And that is going to be it for qualifying. Now, does Maya Laferla have anything else in the tank? That is going to be the big question, because qualifying being done, they're all on the final laps now.
So be interesting. We're not currently on board with Maya. She's still out on track.
She's just coming into the final couple of corners now. She's got about 2 corners left to go here. Just coming through. Crocodile's going to be into Cheetah. It's not going to happen. It's him 7/10 down just now. So yeah. That's going to be done. Either way, I mean, second place though, 143.
Oh yeah,
that's still awesome.
Yeah, I consider Maya and Theodora are, locked in this immense battle for P2 in the championship, and that both of them have qualified Lisa Louise. Definitely makes for an interesting start to the race for the AM classes. So, yeah.
Oh, now we didn't see Maren Edwards sneaking up into 4th position there. 0.8 of a second off of that, so that is now 4 cars within AM. Within a second there, so that is a cracking effort from the AM drivers. But now we focus on our pro drivers. Honor Rose, as we said, our confirmed championship winner. However, it's all about that battle for second place now, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, P2, P3, the final 2 podium slots for pro, and as we've been saying with the likes of Gates having to bow out of the race tonight, then the battle between Sarah Dove, Denise Pope, and as I mentioned, Penelope Dobbins, just promoted up from AM into pro just after the halfway mark of the race of the championship. In within a shout to potentially fight for one of those last podium positions if she has a really, really good race out. So be interesting to keep an eye certainly on those 3 drivers, Sarah Dove, Denise Pope, and Penelope Dobbins, to see where they come out. Denise unfortunately had a little bit of a disastrous race out at Watkins Glen, but had a really, really good showing at Imola. So just needs to repeat some of her previous performances, and when we know that Denise can do very, very well when she gets then the concentration down. So yeah, definitely interesting one to watch.
Talking about disastrous rounds, of course, Sarah Dove had that pretty horrible couple of races at Imola as well, as Honor Rose does completely just destroy the times there. I love how it was made a jokey comment about 2 seconds, and it is literally 2 seconds that Honor Rose is ahead of. Now, what has happened to our AM leader? Because no, ignore me, it disappeared off into P4 just now. I was panicking because I couldn't say Tio's name on the timing board there, but we're just getting the top 3 as somebody disappears into the nether realm there.
With Mia Rose just coming just in behind Honore as well. So Mia coming back into MFR last season, obviously missing the first 3 rounds, but jumped straight into P14 in the championship with just 1 round under her belt. Be interesting to see how far up the championship Mia finishes with just after 2 rounds. So that could be a fascinating little anecdote to watch out for towards the end of this evening as well.
Another name that we've seen for many seasons here at More Female Racers, Beata Bachenska, I believe joined us halfway through, I think it was season 4, and has been going very strong since in that hot and spicy racing machine, and very much enjoys taking part in this championship in the 997. Has been getting the elbows out, I think is the polite way to say, earlier on in the season. Caught up in a lot of drama with the mid-pack, and again just showing how fierce the fighting in that mid-pack can be, as Honor Rose does a 141.5. Skylar Vixen, great to see they could finally jump out the car that they were working on to come and join us tonight. That was a bit of a close call there, Sam.
It was, yeah. I mean, when we saw that note in the YouTube, I think it was literally seconds before qualifying was scheduled to start. So proper lastminute.com, but got in just in time.
Well, Alexa Gates has joined into the chat to have a chat with us, to say, I'll explain rather a little bit about why they are missing tonight, and it's because minor surgery on the right shoulder on last Thursday, and still in a bit of pain. So completely understandable that Alexa Gates taking a bit of a miss tonight. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's only sim racing, and your health is your health, but that's pretty hardcore.
It is, yeah, and even though it's all on computer, modern force feedback wheels still put a lot of pressure on you. And I certainly get quite sore wrists when I'm racing. So, shoulder injuries, wrist injuries, anything and elbows and arms related. You don't want to push just to do a sim race. It's just not worth it.
You're absolutely spot on with that one. As that was a huge moment there from Josie Austin there. Catches it, and Team Cupcake going to have to go away and think again on that one. 7 minutes 55 left to go in qualifying, and Rose doing another purple lap, and it gets quite tiring actually after a while, because it's fastest lap 10 Rose, 1:41.2. But we've spoken about this a few times over the past couple of races here, and the weird part for me as a quite a slow sim racer, I always thought that maybe people would be put off by that sort of skill gap, but it's not been the case. I think people find Lenore quite inspiring as to proving what is actually possible with the kit and with the car as well.
Yeah, it's something that I do hear a lot of. What's the point racing somebody so ridiculously quick? But and I always take the point of view, especially in rounds like this where you're all in the same car. Take the opportunity to learn from situations like this. Whenever I'm in a server with a fast driver who's in a same marked car as me, go on board, watch what they're doing, learn from them. And I know Anora, encourages that, for people to, just jump on board and watch her laps, watch what she's doing. And, just seeing that tiny little differences add up to massive differences over the course of a lap. Just braking a little bit later here, carrying a little bit more speed there, getting on the accelerator a tiny bit, quicker here. It all adds up to these, massive time differences.
Now, I was just about to say there, Penelope Dobbins quickly flashed up on screen there, Sam. I wanted to get your impression on Penelope, because an absolutely astounding performance this season. Started off in AM, being moved up very quickly to Pro as well, and proving that Penelope deserves her seat at the table here.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Fantastic outing at Imola, which I believe was her first round in the Pro class. And took a third and a sixth. So definitely an earning of third position in the Pro class. And this is what MFR is all about, is helping drivers to progress, and to see a progression happen like that mid-season. I think it's very, very inspiring for and other drivers potentially watching this series at home, thinking, well, yeah, you can progress. We've watched it happen literally on screen and over the course of the past 6-8 weeks. So and definitely inspiring for other drivers to jump in and have a go, and see if they can improve as well. So I've loved watching Penelope race this season just for that fact alone, let alone the fact that she's actually a really, really great driver as well.
Yeah, 100%. Could not agree more with that sentiment there, Sam. Just also seeing another fastest lap for Anora Rose there now, 1:41.217. That is an improvement, I think, about 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second. Either way, what is impressive is the fact that we've still got a reasonably close top three. It's Honor Rose with Mia Rose in second place, but Penelope Dobbins actually just 0.7 of a second behind our pole position sitter just now. And the other thing that Alexa Gates had said was hoping that somebody else can pick up their mantle of aggressive defending. I'll be honest with you, I think if anybody's going to be able to do that, Penelope Dobbins is actually in with a shout.
Yeah, definitely. Throughout the season, Penelope has shown that she can get the elbows out when needed, to cleanly retain positions. I can't immediately recall any big incidences involving Penelope over the course of the season. Little bumps and scrapes here and there that we've seen throughout the field. But nothing that I can recall, as a major standout incident. So yeah, really, really good at defending and retaining positions, which I think is why she's done so well from her jump up to pro. Didn't really have to work that hard keeping any of the AM drivers behind when she was in AM at the beginning of the season. Which is what led her to being promoted up to pro in the first place. But with that pro transition being made, she showed that she could still keep the pro drivers behind her as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, as we said, definitely shown that the transition has been deserved, and Penelope deserves a seat at that big table, as does Sarah Dove. As always, in that P4 right now, as Josie Austin is getting acquainted with that curb on the exit of Barbecue yet again. Still 0.2 up at the moment. So that would be enough to potentially jump into P9. But again, I don't think it's going to be enough to get past Tio just now. But it's all been for nothing because of that exit out of Barbecue. Let's talk a little bit while we've got our final 2 minutes of qualifying here as Sarah Dove comes across the line. Again, it was a faster lap there, 142.227, that previous lap for Sarah Dove. About Kyalami as a circuit here, Sam. It's a wonderful mix of speeds and twists and turns. But, I mean, the drivers seem to love it, and it's a really good track for momentum and building flow.
It is, yeah. It's one of those tracks it's difficult to get a lap right here. There are lots of corners that can, if you don't give them a healthy respect, can jump and bite very, very badly. I've had some god-awful accidents at Cheetah, the corner 15 just before you come to the hairpin at the back of the start-finish straight. There is a massive sausage curb on the inside, but you have to, you've got to play Russian roulette with that curb in order to have a stellar lap, and it's just that question of how close do you want to get? How brave can you be? And we've already seen it a couple times then this evening. Just catching a little bit too much of that curb has thrown drivers off to the other side. Granted, there is nice big gravel runoff there, but it's showing a lot of drivers invalidating at that corner. And Barbecue that you mentioned earlier, turn 5, is another one that's very, very difficult to get right, but is so vital to the lap because you've got a big, massive straight after it. And then again, another chunky curb sitting on the inside. But counterintuitively get that corner wrong and actually throws you to the inside of the track. So, when you string a lap together here, it feels absolutely amazing. It flows. It just all clicks. But it is a track that can be really, really vicious at times if you don't give it the respect it deserves.
Yeah, a bit of a cruel mistress, and as you said, it's one of those tracks that if you do get a really good lap and you hook it all up, it makes you feel incredible. It makes you feel like you are an absolutely spot-on driver. And there it is, in Honor Rose 141.0. I knew it was coming. My question was, are we going to say under it? But I think that is it. I think she crossed over as the session turned to 0. So Honor Rose, no surprises really to see on pole position. However, 141.0, I mean, that is... And this is the thing, is we're constantly praising Honor Rose for the, these amazing performances. But let us be in no doubt whatsoever, that is an incredible time. 141.0.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just a proper cat among the pigeons right there.
Yeah, and 0.6 above P2. So yeah, it is a fantastic lap. And people can say, oh well, you're always talking about an Honor Rose and everything like that, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of developing as a driver to get to that point. So, the fact that we keep saying the same thing, another purple lap for another Honor Rose, another fastest lap for Honor Rose. The work that she has done to get to the point of doing that consistently, week after week after week, that level of commitment cannot be ignored.
Oh, absolutely, and we hear that from Honor. I think we heard it last round out at Watkins as well, where she felt that she made a bit of a mistake, and if I remember rightly, there was some sweary words used immediately on that one. But yeah. On that note, she is our harshest critic on that one. We'll come back to that because we've got the grids up on just now. We can see Honor Rose on pole position alongside Mia Rose. It's then Penelope Dobbins on row 2 alongside Sarah Dove. Row 3 is going to be Ruby Acosta and Denise Pope with Beata Bachenska and Skylar Vixen on row number 4. Then we move down to the AMS, and it is Teodora Kasanovic on row 5 alongside Maya LaFerla with the AMS. Josie Austin from Pro in 11th position on row 6 is going to be alongside the AM of Lisa Louise. It's then Martin Edwards alongside Charlotte Robertson, and then at the back we've got Catherine Rosie and Trazione Integrale on row number 8 there. So again, a very, very eclectic mix there, but I think Lisa Louise probably surprised me a little bit there, down in 12th position in 3rd place in class, and a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, she's got 12-point buffer to Maya LaFerla in P2, but we've got 2 rounds of racing tonight. 12 points is not beyond the realms of possibility to gain within one race round here at MFR. So, definitely has a lot of work to do back where she is in order to keep that P1 position in class.
So you can see there the beautiful overview of Kyalami, the pace car just getting underway, and that will obviously be Honor Rose that is leading all of the cars round just now. While we're doing that and while we're seeing that, we look obviously down at turn 1. Well, turn 2 technically, because we've got the kink and then it's into Crawthorne. Yeah. Who do we think, Sam, is going to be getting bumped off at that first corner? This is not one of those educated guesses. This is literally pick a name, throw a dart at a dartboard and pick someone.
I've got a feeling that the mid-pack of the pros, so P4 through to about P7, I think there's going to be some. My prediction is there's going to be some chaos in the mid-pack going into Crowthorne. It's going to be my guess.
That was wonderfully sort of passively vague. So I'm gonna let you get that, because that actually, I think you're going to be spot on.
I don't think it's going to be a single driver, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I have to. I have to agree with you, actually. I think there's going to be a couple involved. However, we often say that, and we think of, like, say, maybe Monza, Turn 1, for instance, in sim racing is usually a hotspot, and it never happens. Bathurst as well. I honestly think this fight between Maja Laferla and Teodora Kasanovic, that is going to be very, very spicy to watch. That's going to be an interesting one. Also, Anora Rose and Mia Rose, I think we can kind of maybe see what's going to be happening here. If you look at the fact that Anora Rose just on the pace lap, just doing their thing, getting up there, but Mia Rose just nice and balanced, but maybe acting as a little bit of a tail gunner tonight for Anora.
Yeah, I would certainly expect that sort of dynamic to play out between the two Roses. Mia's come into the championship, hadn't halfway through. There's no, Mia doesn't pose any sort of threat. So I fully expect that without sandbagging and still giving it every ounce that she's got, I do think Mia's going to be keeping one eye on the championship for Anora, and just keeping the other lionesses at bay. I was going to say wolves, and I thought, no, this is MFR. Let's continue the analogy and the lionesses.
Well, here comes the pack then, the pride of female sim racing round the final corner. See what I did there? 30 minutes on the clock for the penultimate round of the season, the penultimate race of the season here at Kyalami. We are ready to go. Anora Rose and Mia Rose line up side by side here at Kyalami. Penelope Dobbins and Saradov waiting to get the jump. We wait to see the green flag fly any second now. There it goes. We are underway for the penultimate race of the season, and it's side by side then, as you were. Have a look at that. That's Sarah Duff having a look up the inside. You've got Penelope Dobbins as well, and we're going to see a late breaker. Ruby Acosta sends it from very, very far. Bad contact on Mia Rose, and there we go. Well, I'll tell you what, Alex Gates wanted to see some aggressive defending there. I think it's safe to say we saw that there.
Yeah, I mean, everyone kept it, on the straight and narrow. Everybody's still facing in the right direction, so, not as messy as it could have been, but there has been, quite a bit of contact throughout the pack, throughout that second corner. As we just see a car just off, and then the top corner run very, very wide. And another just in front of us here, and still some bit of rubbing in between. I believe that's Penelope Dobbins and Sarah Dove, just battling out in P3 P4.
That is not rubbing. I don't think, Sam. That is punches being thrown between Penelope Dobbins and Sarah Dove. What an opening lap, as we've got a huge accident. Charlotte Robertson and Trazione Integrale caught up in that one. You'll be able to see what was on about very shortly at the end of the back of that car. Look at the gap that Anora Rose and Mia Rose have got already, but here comes Sarah Dove like a cork in a bottle. He's got Penelope Dobbins, Ruby Acosta is in there. You've got Denise Pope. Great start for Denise, and down there in 6th position. Oh my, this is not going to end well. You can see Josie Austin in the background there. With the AM battle though, it's Tio still ahead in 10th place. Lisa Luiso up into 11th place, so 2nd place in class. That's a great start there.
Yeah, just noticing that Maja Laferla's dropped in a couple of positions in that round, down to P14 currently. But this is just highlighting what happens when you're fighting with other cars. The two Roses, they're not fighting with each other. They are just off in the distance. But because Dobbins and Dove, fighting quite a bit in the first half of that first lap, they've now developed then this big gap, and there's what 2 seconds in between the Roses and this battle for P3 P4.
Very, very interesting. I also wonder that was significant battling going on between them, if there's any damage. So let's have a look here at the start then, and that is the number 5 there, caught in the middle of just lots and lots of cars there into the exit, and that is Mile Ferla, as we see, going very wide into turn 2, caught out and not really given any room to come back on. Contact made, and I'm going to be honest with you, was that Theo that was caught up in that? I think that was the AM leader, Theo, that was caught up in that collision there. So that is potentially huge for the championship, because that could very well have been seen by the stewards as unnecessary contact there.
Yeah, but looking at, I'm just trying to find where Theo is in the standings. So I think then that Maya must have given that position back, or no, that was Maya going off just in the last little bit of that clip, allowing Theodora to get then the position back, putting Theodora back up into P10. Yeah.
Right, okay, so that is what we call in the industry a brake failure there. We'll class that as that. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was a hardware fault, and we're not going to hear anything else other than that, honest.
No.
Well, that is, Mile Ferla then down there in 13th place, now 3rd place in the AM Championship. So again, I mean, we're going to need a slide rule and a calculator, Sam, to work what on earth is going on with that one. But it was Theo then that had the contact there. A little bit of side-on contact from Mile Ferla, but I don't think anything's come of it. And just as I've said that, Martin Edwards up into up at the P3.
Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on the penalty Discord and at the minute, just to see if I can get a heads up of any penalties coming from that first lap worth of contact. But we are definitely going to be challenged to try and keep up with the mathematics on how all of this can play out. So yeah, it's going to be challenging, and I think these girls are definitely going to give us plenty to be talking about.
Talking of which, I'm just looking at the gaps opened up now by Honor Rose and Mia Rose there. 141.7, that's about 4/10 of a second off of what Mia was doing for qualifying, and that's about 7/10 off for what Honor was doing for qualifying. But either way, I mean, that is still handsome lap times going in on lap 3, and already got about a 5-second gap over to Sarah Dove right now, as Theo Kasanovic making her way around, trying to catch on to the back end of Josie Austin there. Now Josie, obviously one of the pro cars there, but it also means that Theo is kind of out of harm's way here with this one. Yes, and as I was keeping an eye on the penalty Discord, a penalty has been issued for the contact between Maja Ferla and Theodora Kasanovic, and the penalty going to Maja Ferla, 5 seconds. Yeah, that did look like that was going to be the case on that one, and that's exactly how that has panned out. And I get the feeling that Charlotte Robertson might want to turn off the notifications for the penalty box, because I get the impression that that might be one coming their way very, very shortly indeed. But 23 minutes left to go in this first race of 2 this evening, and Honor Rose leading Mia Rose and Sarah Dove in the podium for our pro fight just now. In the AMs, it's as you can see here, Theodore Kasanovic, Lisa Louise and Martin Edwards is your 1, 2, 3 for the AM battle as well. Mila Ferla, who was up into that P3 for the AM battle, now away down back at the P4, but really just not having a good day here. Yeah, I mean, when we were hoping that she was going to have a bit of a better race, but yeah, not quite the start that she would have wanted. Denise Pope for Wild Things Racing in a bit of no man's land right now. A little bit of gap between herself and Ruby Acosta just up in front, miles ahead of Beata Bachenska in the 997, and that's Catherine Rosie, and that's a poor rejoin, and you hate to see it. well, I say a poor rejoin actually. She was still on the track and she was still in the middle of having her accident, so I'm going to cut her some slack on that one. Mostly because I genuinely can't do any better myself. So yeah, it's a horrible one when you're trying to just keep the thing on track, keep the thing going, and yeah, unfortunately catching out Charlotte Robertson, not causing too much damage though. And it's a horrible place to have an accident because you just kind of spat out into traffic.
Yeah, and I'd like to see a replay, but I think that the car that that got collected into that was that Teodoro as well. So picking up a little bit more damage as they're going around. It's definitely going to make their job a little bit harder.
Certainly is. We're on board with Lisa Louise onto the back end, as you said, of Teodora Kasanovic. Then our fight for the AM Championship, which we are going to have to use all our toes and fingers and every other body part that we have access to try and figure out what the earth is going on here with these points, because given that it is so close, Lisa Louise came into this final round leading the championship by just 12 points over Maya Laferla, and then Teodora Kasanovic by 13 points. Given what is going to happen here in this first race, I think we're going to be split by maybe sort of 5-6 points coming into this final race. So thrilling stuff. It's a good effort from Lisa Louise and by the rest of the drivers just now, but I think that this possibly puts Maya Laferla in a very, very uncomfortable position here.
It does. I mean, just looking at the points allocations for the top five, top four positions, points difference between the top four finishers is only 2 points. So 22 points for P1, 20 points for P2, 18 for P3, and 16 for P4. With Lisa Louise currently sitting behind Teodori, and there being that 13 points difference. Not enough, and as of yet, unless something happens, and there is more of a position spread between Teodora and Lisa Louise by then the end of then this race. Otherwise, points difference allocated between them is just going to be 2.
Well, that is what we are going to have to keep an eye on as we get a replay here from Catherine Rosie. This is going to be on the exit of turn 2 then, when we saw that spin onto the back end of Maya Laferla, late on the brakes, pulls the car in, tries to get onto the power too early and just loops the car right. Now that is that so it's rejoining. Oh yeah, no, see that's I'm not sure. I can just put that one down to a really, really horrible accident for Catherine. God knows I've been there, Sam, and yeah. By which point you're just like, could the ground please open up and just swallow me whole and the car, take it with me, I'll come back for race 2, I'm done.
Yeah, it's very, very easily done trying to get a car turned round on the grass. You could inadvertently just spin it in a complete 360, and it looks like that's what happened. And unfortunately, that 360 put her onto the middle of the track, right in front of another car that just didn't have the time to react. Thankfully it wasn't a full-on contact, and they were able to react enough to just make it a clip, but enough to spin both cars around. But while we were watching that replay, we've had another penalty be issued for the contact between Integrale and Charlotte Robertson. The penalty going to Charlotte Robertson of 10 seconds.
That's the only response I can possibly have to that one. It was a fairly clear incident, just
pretty clear
again. Yeah, late on the brakes and just missing the braking point, at which point you're literally just a passenger, because there's only so much braking that you can do. There's only so much that you can actually get these cars slowed down. I think that's one of the great talking points about this sim from ACC. is the fact that the weight distribution and the simulation of inertia is what I was actually trying to say there. The simulation of the weight transferring from the front to the back and vice versa under acceleration and under braking is, it's pretty awesome. We've got yellow flags just coming up here ahead of Teal just now. Oh, that's Catherine Rosie again. Oh my lord, that was wild. And was that a race leader that just about got caught up in that one? No, that wasn't. That was...
no, I think that was Sky. Yeah, I think that was... it looked like Skylar Vixen's livery, but not 100%
that's spot on. That was a real... Damn, Sam, that was awesome. That's exactly who it is. Because, like, we're watching Josie Austin, and Skylar's just up ahead. So, I'm very impressed with that.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I can't do that. I just, I just wait until our broadcast team just put it onto the car and then I'm saved by the bell.
Yeah, I mean, there's some liveries in here that just, properly stand out and are instantly recognizable. That white and purple of Skylar Vixen's being one of them. So, yeah.
I hate seeing nights like this because I've been in this position, right, at which point... And the thing is, right, we've got to say, huge props to Catherine for waiting, and not just that, for staying in the server. Right?
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again through championships, and I've done it myself. Alt F4. As soon as that's it, I'm done. Rage quit. I'll see you later. I'm not doing it. But these drivers in this championship, they want to learn. They want to better themselves, and they know the only way they do that is by pushing on and keeping on trying. And full credit to that. That is what I love to see.
Yeah, and it isn't just a case of what you can learn as a novice driver. Even pro drivers and experienced drivers, they can benefit by staying in servers and not rage quitting. I was at a race a couple of weeks ago at Bathurst, and literally everybody was having a nightmare race. I ended up having to go into the pits twice within the span of 3 laps, paying pinball down the mountain, and just completely and utterly totaling my car both times. But I stayed in the server. Lots of people didn't. I had the worst race of my life and still ended up finishing P3 in my class.
Well, one driver
because I didn't quit.
One driver that hasn't Alt F4'd is Martin Edwards, as we saw on the live stream there, having a bit of a moment coming out of, I believe that was barbecue, and straight into the wall, gets recovered and gets back on with it. But you made this point earlier on at the beginning of the night, Sam, how easy it is just to put 2 wheels onto the grass and just end up completely hampering your race, ended up straight into the wall.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks. It's really, really deceptive track. It looks like there's so much open space, and outside the track limits. And yes, there is lots and lots of open space in this track, but the nature of the way that some of these curbs just unsettle the car and just completely throw you in a different direction to what you expect, this can cause lots and lots of big damage around this track if you're not careful. And then, weirdly enough, that turn 5 coming out of barbecue onto the back straight is one of the ones where I end up getting the most damage if I'm going to get damage on this track. 9 times out of 10, it's either barbecue or it's cheetah.
Some great points coming in from YouTube chat just along that. Alexa Gates saying that it's 100% the last thing you want to do is rage quit. If you've had an accident, then chances are someone else will, and you'll have to be there to pick up the pieces. And then Positive Perception saying exactly our philosophy at PosPer. So also saying there, incident between 11 and 13. It's a penalty for the number 13 car for causing a collision, and that is Catherine Rosie.
Yeah, so unfortunately, been adding a bit of insult to injury to Catherine Rosie. Already 2 laps down, so not a good night for Catherine so far. But then still racing, and that's the main thing. They're still in the server, which means they will still get points.
Here's a point for you, Sam. Have a look at this little fight for Am right now. That was a huge moment there. A lock up. We've got the 860 off in the background there. Try to figure out who that was. Sorry, 680. That was Skylar Vixen. But we've got Theo and Lisa Louise just going for it right now. This is for the Am Championship. This is huge points right now. And Theo coming under huge pressure from Lisa Louise here.
Yeah. I mean, I've battled with Theo in a couple of races previously with Lightspeed Racing, and it's very difficult to overtake Theo when she's got focused like she is tonight. So yeah, it's not going to be easy for Lisa Louise. Lisa is going to have to really fight tooth and nail to get this position for the P1 of Am.
But what you've also got to say is if Lisa Louise does get this position from Theo, that makes it almost virtually impossible for the second race. I mean, it technically, points wise, it is possible, but how well Lisa has been driving to bring this gap right down. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Just over 10 minutes left to go in our penultimate race of the season. I know Rose leads Mia Rose from Saradov. That's your podium from the pros just now. This is the battle for the AM Championship just now, though, as we've got Teodoro Kasanovic in the lead just now with Lisa Louise in second place. Maya Laferla now somehow back up into third place for the podium. So great result there. However, still quite a bit of time back, about 14 seconds there in third place. So this is a fascinating battle already shaping up, and if this is anything to go by, my goodness me, race 2 is going to be an absolute barnstormer, Sam.
Yeah, and 10 minutes it doesn't sound long, but it's a long time to be under consistent pressure. So Teodora is definitely going to have their work cut out for them, trying to keep everything together, keeping focused for the next 9 minutes and 50 seconds until that checkered flag. I'm pretty sure that Teodora is just praying for that checkered flag to drop as soon as possible.
Well, 9 minutes is not going to be as soon as possible. I'm sure that Theo would like that flag to drop a lot sooner than that, but that is what we have to go through. Also, I know Rose still with these 141.5s. What on earth is that pace? I mean, that is, we've kind of focused on all the fights and the battles and stuff like that, but that is a 10-second lead over Saradov in third place. 141.5, that is, like I said, 0.5 of a second off of qualifying pace, and no word of a lie, from what I've seen, every single lap has been 141, 141, 141, 141. That consistency, Sam, that consistency is what wins you titles.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. But the other thing that I want to point out is, we've had just under 12 minutes of Nora Rose putting in those consistent lap times. Mia Rose still only 1.5 behind, so has been able to keep pace with Honora throughout this entire lap, and the two of them are just dropping the rest of the field like a hot rock.
Yeah, and again, it's just so good to watch because it's so entertaining, and it just adds so many different little complexions to this race here. But 8 minutes left to go. Maren Edwards, it was looking very good for Maren earlier on. I think there might be some heavy damage to that 587, certainly limping away ahead or just behind Catherine Rosie there. Maren was third, fourth position, and it just wasn't to be in this this first race. But have a look at this. That's very deep into the corner there from Teodoro Kasanovic there. Kind of caught out, I think, a little bit by Josie Austin, who is still struggling with his car. Now, what we have to see as well here, Sam, is Josie still suffering with this car coming into the Crocodiles? We saw all through qualifying where Josie was just hammering that car across the curbs.
Yeah, and then the kind of the second part to that point is Josie Austin going to play a part in this battle between Lisa Louise and Teodora Kasanovic?
I think there's no way that that Josie can't play a part, if that makes sense, is Skylar Vixen and Maya LaFerla. Another bit of contact between those two. And, oh man, you hate to see it. It's been a really, really difficult day for Maya LaFerla, and I think that almost certainly puts any title contentions out of the window, given what has happened here in race 1. This is Skylar Vixen then coming through into turn 2. Is it going to be a case of spinning the car round very late into 3, and well, that is launched into the air.
Yeah, and that's the impact of curbs and around here. You know, so some of those curbs, they are proper monsters, and yeah, they will just eat you up and spit you out, you know, in a split second.
It certainly will. Kyalami is not a track that is very, very forgiving on these sausage curves. They massively unsettle the car, and I think that's one of the things that has changed in this 1.9 update is the balance and the drivability of these cars over the curbs. You had a lot of patience before, as Teodora Kasanovic getting very, very wide out of these corners here. I get the impression, Sam, here that Teodora is feeling maybe a little bit held up by Josie Austin, getting a little bit frustrated at trying to get their way past that car, and you know she's holding on to it just now. But I get the wonder for how long can Teo hold this on.
Yeah, I would agree. Just the body language of the car is just, it looks impatient. So yeah, I think Teodora, keenly aware that she is faster than Josie, and is just pushing her back into the clutches of Lisa Louise, and is desperately wanting to get a move made, possibly, you know, just sticking a nose out into various places to force Josie Austin into making a mistake. But as Alice Napalm in the YouTube chat has said, she's just got to relax, breathe, and you know, just wait for the right opportunity to present itself.
Now, if you're Lisa Louise in this situation, I mean, if in my opinion, I wouldn't be forcing this issue in terms of trying to make a move on Teo. I would be keeping her in sight, but not actually pushing the issue on it. What do you think about it, Lisa?
If I was skilled enough to be able to actually, you know, pull this off, I would basically be putting enough pressure on Teodora to keep this nervous energy going, and you know, feeling that she has to make a move on Josie or else, and again forcing potentially the two of them to have contact, and you know, me just, you know, sitting there saying thank you very much, I will take two positions. Now, do I have the skill to actually pull that off? No, not really, but you know, it's easy to say here in the commentary box, isn't it?
It's you know, nice and simple, as we're saying. Trazione Integrale. I was wondering if that was actually Beta Bachenska, but Beta's several seconds up the road now, getting passed by Josie Austin and Teo Kasanovic, but I think that's going to be hampering Lisa Louise a little bit. Actually, it's not. Trazione doing an incredible job there of just moving out the way. I love seeing that. That's awesome stuff. However, you can tell the frustration is just mounting from Teo. She wants to get past this car in front, but it's going to be a case of at what point. For me, I just hold on to it. It's done. You've got 3 minutes left. You just want to secure this position here, surely. Yeah, because it is that question of at what cost. You know, at what cost is the place worth? Granted, in the back of her mind, she may be thinking, oh well, if I get an extra car in between me and Lisa Louise, it's then not just a 2-point difference, it's then a 4-point difference, possibly. Although no, Josie Austin she's a pro driver, isn't she? So that's not even, no, that's not actually the case. So even if Teodora does get past Josie, in terms of the championship standings, where they finish, they're still going to be finishing first and second. Yeah, it's not going to make any impact. So that's why I was saying I don't...
Exactly, yeah. This is now adding additional color to this battle of, is it even worth a battle having?
Because the thing is, though, I think what Teo will be mindful of is the fact that Josie is not on the same pace that Teo is. You look at that last lap time there, 1:44.1, and Teo doing a 1:43.5. So both Teo and Lisa Louise are faster, but again, it's at what cost. That is going to be the big key here, and you can just see. I mean, you pointed out the body language, and I know that sounds a really strange thing for some of our viewers to understand, but what we mean when we say the body language is, watch where Teo is placing that car.
Mm-hmm.
Does she jink the car out to kind of aggressively try and make a move here? I honestly think she's feeling really, really frustrated at trying to get past here. However, there's a minute to go here. It's going to be fascinating to see how this pans out.
Yeah, and it is now then this question of, is it a risk worth taking? Then if she gets this position done, great. It's an extra position on track. It's not going to make any difference to the starting grid for the next race because the drivers are reorganized into their classes. It's not going to make a difference to points allocations in the overall championship because it will still be P1 to Theodora, P2 to Lisa Louise. So, it is this question of, I know when you're in the heat of the moment, you're in the cockpit, you just see the red mist, and it's like, there's a car in front, I must overtake. But, I think what makes the difference between a good driver and a great driver is being able to take that step back and think, okay, does this actually have an impact on the overall championship? Is this a risk worth taking? And, taking a wider rational view of this battle, no, I don't think it is worth taking. I think she should just sit where she is, take then the AM class win, and see what plays out in race 2. But as we've been chatting about all of that, we are at T-0, and this is the race done. Final laps coming in.
Certainly is. This is a race leader coming through. Cheetah for the final time then. Honor Rose has done what Honor Rose does best, lead from start to finish. We've seen it not be the case all the way through. Of course, it's going to be a team 1-2. Of course, it's going to be a beautiful photo finish for Honor Rose and Mia Rose across the line to take race 1 of the final rounds of the season, and Mia Rose taking second place. Sarah Dove is going to come out of the final corner to take third place in that pro fight here for the penultimate race, and Penelope Dobbins not quite able to hold on. Will finish in fourth position here. It is going to look the way of Tia Kasanovic for the AM battle, however, dropping back a little bit from Josie Austin, now just managing the final part of this race here, and it's going to be Lisa Louise in second place and Maya Laferla in third for the AM battle, just out of this final corner here. And again, Lisa Louise, you could see that there, very calculated race there, dropping off, still our championship leader coming into this final race. But oh my goodness me, does the plot thicken with that race win for Teo and that AM battle, as we see Maya Laferla coming through the final couple of corners as well. Maya just, it's been a very difficult race, hasn't it, Sam, for Maya tonight?
It has, yeah. It didn't quite pan out right from the very, very beginning, and very, very unfortunate getting a little bit wrapped up in some incidences happening around. She's also going to get that post-race penalty applied as well. So that might have maybe actually dropped her another position. I'm not quite too sure what the finishing time was, but between Maya and the next AM car down, that would be interesting to see when the grid is reformed for race 2, as to whether that penalty had a impact on the overall finishing positions, because that's that makes a difference to the points.
It really, really does, and I think more than you would realise there, because obviously we've got Skylar Vixen, who is in Pro, so that won't count. But I think the person behind him was Maren Edwards, and Maren is in the AM battle, and I think that promotes Maren Edwards up to third position, because Maren crossed the line 7 seconds behind Maya Laferla. So we'll wait and confirm and check and all that sort of stuff there. As you can see there, Maya Laferla just ahead of Maren Edwards, and you can see there total time was, well, it's saying it was only 2 seconds there for the finish to come across. So we'll double check, but either way, an awesome race here, and well, a lot to talk about. Obviously Pro is done, dusted and wrapped up, but again, it's all about that second place there. Sarah Dove taking in some important points for that fight.
Yeah, and I mean, then just looking at where Sarah finished in P3, so that's going to give her a healthy haul of points over Alexa Gates. That gives her a clear 18 points over Alexa Gates. So she's heading halfway there. Just needs to take P3 again, I think, if my maths are correct, and please nobody quote me on my maths. But if big massive if in capital letters, bold, underlined with stars, if Sarah Dove takes another P3, I believe that will get her P2 in the championship. But please don't quote me.
Well, I think you're right. I think you. That's what I think, certainly from that. Given that we're looking at the drop rounds, although you'll notice that the drop rounds haven't been done on the pro teams, from what I'm seeing. So maybe because we've already just done the first race here, we'll double check on that. But let's turn our attention then to the AM battle then, because obviously Lisa Louise came into this first race, this final round of the championship, in the lead by what was 12 points ahead of Maya Laferla, 121 to 109 and 108 of Teodoro Kasonovic. Teodoro took the class win there. So you said 2 points is the aggregate of first and second place there. So Teodoro taking 2 points off of Lisa Louise, and you rightly pointed out, with it being 13 points there, that now brings the gap down to just 11 points going into this final round, which is a good start. But realistically, you kind of want to be a lot closer. I mean, you're basically, Teodoro's going to be banking on a disaster for Lisa Louise in this final race.
Yeah, I think, if I were Teodora and I was, thinking rationally and not in the heat of the middle of a race night, I would be thinking, okay, be nice to get some points up on Lisa Louise, but in all honesty, my concentration is P2 and getting as many points out of Maya Laferla as I can, which in that past round she's done, no question about it. So that's what I would be concentrating on. The more points I can get out of Lisa Louise, bonus, but it wouldn't be where my focus was. But that's me not being in the pressure cooker that is in the cockpit in the middle of a race event. Teodora going into the second race in a very, very good position to at least take P2 from Maya Laferla in the overall championship. But Maren Edwards, despite having a bit of a disastrous round, because there were not many people there, and we come back to this again. That's the not very great race result still actually ends up being a decent haul of points. Because we've got a smaller field, less people to spread those points around. So more points are available for everyone. So possible dodging of a bullet there for a bad race for Marin Edwards.
Yeah, I think several bullets been dodged on that one. Great to see that Amate Pulsatrix, who we saw throughout the season in YouTube chat as well, saying that she would have raced in this round herself, but didn't get much sleep. She would have been a wrecking ball. I'm my chaotic side is saying I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see, just like like in Mario Kart where you get the random items coming. It's just like an Amate Pulsatrix just gets unleashed at random point during the race and just sent to havoc. That is a series right there. I think we need to get the team at SimGrid to organise that one. But we're just ahead of building the grids for the next race. We're ready to head in. Race 2. This is the last race of the season. We saw some punches getting thrown. I obviously I'm over exaggerating, right? It's not punches. They're all very friendly and they're all, well, mostly very friendly to each other. But I mean, surely now this is where it's kind of do or die, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. This is your last opportunity to have any impact whatsoever on where you finish in the championship, and that is not going to that's not going to have been missed by anyone on the grid, no matter where they are in the championship. Everybody is going to be keenly aware this is the last grab for points. But at the same time, I would hope that those feelings of let's get as many points as we can are tempered with the thought of, without killing ourselves, we don't get any points. One would hope.
Fingers crossed, and every other thing that you can possibly cross while you're doing that. We're seeing some beautiful photos and some screenshots here, and as always, if you've got any artwork that you want to share with us, we'd love to see it. Feel free to pop it in the Discord or pop it in pop your username in the YouTube chat. We'd love to go and have a look. While we're seeing that, as we said, we're building up the final race of the season here for more female racers. A chance now to kind of look back on what has been a fantastic season 6 here. I know that obviously I've come very late into the season, joining you for rounds 3, 4 and 5. But it has been just a wonderful season here. We've kind of had it all. We started obviously at Zolder, we went to Silverstone, then we went to Imola, Watkins Glen, and tonight at Kyalami. What's been some of your highlights from the season here, Sam?
I mean, I think just the nature of the way the championship has developed through the viewer voting of the tracks that we go to. Inadvertently, our viewers have ended up building us a season that has a mix of literally everything, thrown in, from height, technical, overtaking is, difficult to, fast flowing, lots and lots of wheel-to-wheel action, and literally everything in between. And that's made this a really, really fascinating series to watch, where there have been so many different highlights. I don't really know if I can pick one. However, if you're going to nail my foot to the floor and say, okay, one best moment, it's got to be the defending masterclass that we saw from Alexa Gates last round out and at Watkins Glen. I think that was just absolutely phenomenal, of holding Honora Rose back for what was pretty much an entire race of Watkins Glen. That was just phenomenal to watch, and one of the best races I've seen in a long time.
That was absolutely sensational, and that totally would have been my choice for it as well. So yeah, great pick there, Sam. Let's go through the grid though for our final race of the season for 4 more female racers, season 6, powered by Mercedes-AMG. And at the front of the grid, it is the Battle of the Roses then. It's Anora Rose with Mia Rose in second place. Then on row 2 is Sarah Duff alongside Penelope Dobbins. On row 3 is going to be Ruby Acosta and Beata Bachenska for Hot and Spicy Racing in the 997. Denise Pope for Wild Things Racing is going to be alongside Team Cupcake of Josie Austin. Then it's Skylar Vixen in 9th place, and it is the almighty battle of the arms behind. 10th place on is going to be Teodora Kasanovic. Then on row 6, Lisa Louise alongside Myla Ferla, who's going to be hoping that they have a much better race number 2. Martin Edwards in 13th on row 7 alongside Charlotte Robertson, who was caught up in all sorts of incidents earlier on. Tradizione Integrale in row 8 alongside Catherine Rosie, who again will be hoping to avoid any issues. Now, what I have seen is a car parked at the side of the road, and that would suggest to me, Sam, that some technical difficulties possibly for that car. Looked like parked against the pit wall there.
I didn't catch then the car, which car it was.
I think they've got going again, so
that's good.
Maybe just some slight issues. I think it was towards the back end. I'm sure it was one of the purple cars there, so not too sure how that was. But either way, I mean, hardware issues can be a bit of a bugbear in this sim.
It can, yeah. Right, I am just doing some quick maths, and it looks like, as it stands at the minute, if my maths are correct, and again, big massive if, all capitals, underlined, italics, starred, the whole 9 yards, I believe Teodori has overtaken Maya Laferla for P2. I believe there are currently 3 points between them, but I'm not 100% sure. Yes. No. Yes.
I'm not even getting involved in that one. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt and been very, very wrong, so I'm not touching that with a barge pole. However, you do you, Sam, and I'm going to absolutely trust your faith on that one. Just catching up on some YouTube chats, comments just now, so cars make their way around for the pace lap. Good evening to my good buddy Alex Goldschmidt, who is in the YouTube chat watching, and great to have you on board. Of course, co-commentator, we've worked together on many, many different things, so it's always great to have you on board. Alex, to Yvonne Hooflaar, who's seen through the season as well, watching and cheering on for Sarah and for Kat as well. The question came up earlier on. The question was about strawberry shortcake yogurt or chocolate digestive. Not sure what that's got to do with anything. However, anybody that doesn't say strawberry shortcake yogurt is just wrong, I'm afraid, on that one. Cars coming round the final couple of corners. Right, very quickly, Sam. Strawberry shortcake yogurt? Yeah? No?
No.
No? What's wrong with you? Come on. It's got to be done. Right, we'll fight about that later on. Mia Rose and Anora Rose leading us through the final time tonight. It's kind of awesome to see this. It's been a fantastic championship to be part of. I'm very, very privileged, as always, to be part of it alongside yourself, Sam Pearce. But it is David Christie and Sam Pearce taking you through the final rounds of the season, the final race of the season here at Kyalami for More Female Racer. Season 6, powered by Mercedes-AMG. Anora Rose and Mia Rose at lead of the pro team. And then it is the AMs of Teodora Kasanovic and Lisa Louise as well. Let's go racing for the final time this season. What are we going to see on the rundown to turn 1? We wait for the flag to turn to green and we go racing for the final time, and there it goes. That was the biggest pause ever. However, that was a terrible start from Mia Rose. Look at Sarah Doff and Penelope Dobbins can't quite get anything. Look at the back of Teodor Kasanovic as they all go down almost 3 wide. So close there.
That was cleanly done for 3 wide going into turn 2.
Oh, contact! And that's your AM leaders out. That is Teodor Kasanovic. That was Lisa Louise caught up in that as well. That was the 660 of Skylar Vixen. And that is huge damage there to the number 3 of Tradizione Integrale. Caught up in that. Absolute heartbreak for the AM battle right now. there is, though, Teodor Kasanovic there, and that looks like heavy damage to the front of that car. But where is Lisa Louise? Crucially, Lisa Louise up in the front, and that is a disaster for Teodor. Teodor needed to win the class and hope for a disaster for Lisa Louise, but it's gone the opposite way already.
Yeah, and Maya Furla currently in front of Lisa Louise as well. So that could not have gone any worse for Teodore. Feel so gutted. All we can hope is that the car is controllable, but at the minute it doesn't look like it. It looks like that Mercedes-AMG is an absolute handful. So it's going to be touch and go as to whether she makes the decision of is it safer to pit or try and nurse that car around to the end. Really tough decision to make.
Great catch from Positive Perception in the YouTube chat. Lisa Louise doesn't look like she was actually caught up in that incident at all. Looks like it was a mistaken identity on that one. So again, it looks like it was Kasanovic, maybe Catherine Rosie in there, Trazione, Integrale and Skylar Vixen all caught up in that. They're all outside the top 12 right now. So you can see Martin Edwards also in there. So that has just been an absolute disaster. And as it stands, Lisa Louise doing everything that she needs to do to hold on to that AM Championship right now. Penelope Dobbins, though, is wanting to kind of set fire to things just now. Sarah Dove is just ahead just now. We saw this through the first race where Penelope was able to catch up onto the back end of Sarah Dove, but Sarah Dove just had too much pace and streaked away. So again, these early stages of the race are going to be so important to shake down here. 27 minutes left to go, and it's been a complete topsy-turvy race for the AMs because Maya Laferla now in the lead of the AMs.
Yeah, and kind of comfortably in then the AMs as well. I mean, then the last sort of set of timing gates that they went through, Maya Laferla was 2 seconds ahead of Lisa Louise, so a half decent gap there at the minute. So Maya comfortably in the lead of the AM class as it stands in the minute, with about 26 and a half minutes of the race still to go.
And I know Rose straight back into the 141s, picking up where we left off last time round as Penelope Dobbins now making a move up into turn 2. Is it going to be late into the big set? It's a huge move. I think that was maybe just the deceptive camera angle there, because that was quite tight there. Penelope Dobbins did look like it was going to be a move in. I think just a little bit of a sort of showing the hand, just getting into the mirrors and maybe trying to get into the mind of Sarah Dove there.
Yeah, just throwing a little bit of an effect to the inside, hoping that Sarah Dove might compromise her line in order to protect or defend. Sarah Dove not falling for it and taking the proper racing line and keeping the position. But interestingly, and at the minute, still have quite a tight bunching of P2 all the way to P5, currently all within 1 second.
Oh, that's a horrible incident. Big hit there from the number 3. It was the 660 of Skylar Vixen, I think, that got... I think that it was 3 cars trying to take a corner that was never going to work there, because you had Josie Austin, I believe it was, on the inside there, and then you had Skylar Vixen in the middle, and Skylar Vixen was, I think, kind of pushed into that car on the outside there of Teodora Kasanovic, and I didn't see any malice there from anyone. I don't see any way that issue or that incident could have been prevented. However, are you kidding me? 141.5 already, and we're only on lap 3. That is, I mean, that's scary how fast an can just switch it on like a tap. Yeah,
and it's, I mean, there is no getting away from, the skill level that's needed to do that, of instantly, as soon as tires are up to pressure, up to temperature, you're already on, proper hot lap times. So yeah, there's, you know, it is just a skill to be in awe of. Just nothing else you can say about it.
Certainly is. As Catherine Rosie gets overtaken then. I'll put a lap down actually, sorry. I think, or no, that was for position. That was Theodor Kasanovic who just got past there, so you can see the times changing and the scoreboard changing there. Catherine Rosie, just again another driver who really trying their very best every single round, and somehow unfortunately ends up as a punching bag for everyone.
Yeah, but, despite that, still seems to keep, a positive outlook, still keeps racing, keeps learning, keeps developing. And, that in itself is, is just, amazing to watch. That despite, getting in lots of incidences and, having difficult races week after week, still keeps coming back, still keeps racing, and, still enjoying it as well. So that's, it's great to see.
Certainly is. 22 minutes left to go in the race. 141.4 now for Norwos. That time is just coming down and down. And I think the point I'm trying to make with that is like mind-bendingly fast when you've got like a half a tank of fuel or a full tank of fuel or whatever compared to qualifying setup. That it's just scandalous. As we see Ruby Acosta onto the back of Penelope Dobbins. This has been a brilliant little fight for Pro that we've seen going through the night here, because Sarah Dove, Penelope Dobbins and Ruby Acosta all involved in this, and it's a proper little scrap going on now. And as you said, right just before the race, it's the final race of the season now. We just don't have to worry about it. I've also noticed Lisa Louise now in the lead of the AM, so one hand on that trophy already.
Yeah. So be interesting to see where that overtake took place, because last time when we checked in with Mayola Furla, she had quite a decent lead over Lisa Louise. So Lisa's managed to not only get that lap that time down, but has managed to get the position as well. So but still a decent gap between Mayola Furla and Theodora Kasanovic, which is kind of the closer battle that we're wanting to watch within the AM class. Obviously, them being razor thin on the points allocation for them for that P2 spot on the podium.
I'll tell you what's made it thoroughly entertaining for us up here in the commentary box, and I hope thoroughly entertaining for all of you at home as well, watching this race unfold here, because this is now the final chapter of this season falling into place like dominoes that have been stacked all throughout the season so very meticulously and carefully, as we're back to watching second place in the AM fight just now, Maya Laferla. I'll tell you what, after race one, Maya will absolutely take second place right now, because race one was definitely one to forget, getting bounced about left, right and centre here. But this is awesome, and at the end of the day, Lisa Louise just up in front. It's not going to happen for the championship, but there's no real threat from Man Edwards behind, who is 3 seconds behind there. Although I say that, and the gap starts to come down very slightly. Charlotte Robertson actually is another driver who we saw having real problems in race one, up to P4 now in that AM Championship. So again, a decent recovery in race two here, Sam.
Yeah, and when we've seen this throughout the championship, that the second race of the evening does tend to be a bit of a redemption race for a lot of drivers who have a tough round one. And it's great to see drivers be able to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and say, okay, crap first race, but we have another race of the evening, and it's it's difficult to do, to be able to clear your mind after a bad race. I know me personally, and it takes me a couple of hours to sort of get my head right after a bad race. to be able to do it in the span of 15-20 minutes going into a second round of a race event is no mean feat. So, and everyone, like Charlotte Roberts, Maren Edwards, doing really, really well in race 2 after a not so great race 1. Hats off to them. It's a difficult thing to do.
It really, really is. We're still watching Sarah Duff here in the battle for third place with Penelope Dobbins and Ruby Acosta behind, although there's going to be a little bit of a gap opening up here as well. And despite that lap 1 incident, it's been a very, very kind of prim and proper affair, I think it has to be said, with all of these drivers, as has been mostly the case throughout the entirety of the season. This is what we love. You mentioned it about 5 minutes ago, Sam, maybe 10 minutes ago, about watching the development of these drivers, the learning through every incident, every issue that they have, and just keeping on chugging along and trying to make the best of what they've got. And again, it's fantastic to see the development of all of these drivers, and whether that's going from AM to Pro or just being able to get some solid results from maybe when you see them at the start of their career here in more female racers where they're really, really struggling. And some big names is Maya Laferla, already making me regret saying that she's having a much better race too. So thanks for that, Maya. Singing the praises there. However, it goes back to the point that we were saying earlier on. The Crocodiles, looks like that's where that incident happened. You touch those curbs on the inside, you're dead.
Yeah, and it's one of those things about Kyalami as a racetrack that I think drivers either love or they hate. The fact that it poses such an interesting challenge, but the reward of an amazing lap round here is more worth the pain that you potentially get from getting a lap wrong. I mean, a lot of people say that Spa is like that. You string an amazing lap together at Spa, and it is just absolutely phenomenal. But because it's such a long lap, it tends to be a little bit more disheartening when you make a mistake, because it takes so long for that that mistake kind of hangs around before you cross the start line and start another lap. Whereas nice short track like Kyalami, I think it's just a little bit easier to deal with the difficult corners than someplace like Spa. It's certainly the reason why I love this and as a track, and why I think a lot of other drivers love this track as well. As we see a replay of what happened with Charlotte Roberts.
Right, I'm going to stop speaking about these drivers now, because clearly every driver now that I'm praising for having a better race too is now being affected by that. So I've got no idea what I've done this week, but obviously that is something that's happening. But what I would say is that we're not able to read all of the messages out just now that are coming through the YouTube chat, but I am loving this. There's such just a lovely vibe of like support and positivity and everything like that. Keep that going, and we'll try and show as many messages as we can through the broadcast. 15 minutes left in the race. We're already at the halfway point of this final race. No surprises to see Honor Rose ahead of Mia Rose and Sarah Dove in this final race of the season. That is the podium for Pro. In terms of the AM battle, Lisa Louise has one hand on the AM championship right now, with Maya Laferla in second place and Maren Edwards in third for the AM podium right now. But 15 minutes left to go now, with a lot of these battles kind of spread out here, with the exception of, I think, of the battle for third that we're watching here in Pro. I think that maybe a lot of these drivers are going to feel that the fights are kind of done, and maybe it's time just to bring these cars home for the season.
Potentially, yes, but at the same time, when we've still got some cars in close proximity on track, and racing drivers, the red mist, there's no escaping it. Whether it has an effect on the championship or not, there's a position to be gained, and therefore I will fight for it. So I think there are quite a number of drivers that, if they were thinking rationally and having just concentrating on the overall championship, yes, they would definitely be thinking, right, let's bring the car home. But they're racing drivers, and at the end of the day, and I think we've still got quite a number of battles left to see in the last 13 and a half minutes of the championship.
Well, yeah, this is getting a bit spicy, I've got to be honest. It's nice though, because like obviously we've got the Roses at the front who are just like running away with it, but we've still got some action within that pro field as well. The AM one, I'm happy that it's been decided on track, if that makes sense. I'm glad that it's not that everyone's been taken out or something like that. A horrible moment obviously for Teodora Kasanovic getting involved with everyone at the back, but it's the way the racing it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. It's the way racing goes. It gives you in one hand, and it takes away. It was already going to be a very, very tall order, but again, with just 12 minutes left to go, it does look like it's going the way of Lisa Louise. However, what that doesn't say is what the hell is going to happen to that AM Championship outside of that first position.
Yeah, and as for who's going to take steps 2 and 3 on that final podium, it is still very, very much in the air. Yes, there's quite a big gap on track between Mea Lafurla and Teodora Kasanovic, but I've given myself brainache in the last 10 minutes trying to figure out what all the computations are. I'm giving up. I'm throwing my hands up in defeat, and I have absolutely no idea. Let's wait until the better minds of the people who take care of the championship standings for us and the wonderful world of SimGrid give us those details for us, because I haven't got a clue now. And my brain hurts.
Well, I was waiting to say one thing that's going to pickle your brain even more, Sam. Not that I wish to, but I'm going to anyway. Is remember they get an extra point for the fastest lap of the race as well.
Oh God!
So just throw that into the mix. It's like so it's. No. We'll leave it until that is done. Right, race control have just let us know that the lap 1 incident between the 660 and the 939 was a racing incident. That is Skylar Vixen and Teodora Kasanovic there. We saw that. We did say at the time it did look like it was just a racing incident. Nothing either party could have done to avoid that, and unfortunate. Alex Goldsmith also commenting on YouTube chat that it's not so much a commentator's curse as more a fate of circumstance. I like that. I think I'm going to steal that from a future broadcast. It's not a commentator's curse. It's just fate. It's just it was obviously meant to be. Which ironically, right? We've got 10 minutes, so I can divert for like about a minute here. There is no such thing as a commentator's curse. It doesn't actually exist. What there is you become more aware of something, to the likelihood of something happening, or to the possibility of something happening, because you hear about it, so you think it's in the back of your mind and you're more aware of it. That's where I come from it, and that's what I'm going to use as my get out of jail free card until I stop commentating. Deal with it,
Yep, that's fine. I can appreciate the rationality behind that, but okay.
Love it. Right, we've got a fight going on here between Denise Pope and Josie Austin. Team Cupcake versus Team Wild Things Racing. 10 minutes left to go, and this is what you want, is it, Sam? For when you're on track, you want to have somebody else that you can have a little set piece with, a little toe to toe, and it just keeps you on. It keeps things interesting. Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing worse than being in a race and you're just lapping on your own. You've got nobody to battle with, nobody to fight with, either because you're quicker than everybody else or you're slower than everybody else, like in my case. And it it can have a negative effect on your perception of sim racing. Of well, what am I bothering? I've got nobody to play with. Whereas this is exactly what you want to see, not only as spectators and commentators, but also in the cars as well. It gives you something to concentrate on and fight with. And weirdly enough, I tend to drive better when I am racing with somebody. My quickest laps have always been when I'm fighting with another car. I don't know why. It just is.
My god, I thought I was the only one.
No.
It is a thing though, isn't it? Because it's like for me, it's like when I'm not racing in real life, but when I'm driving at night at real life, I prefer like following somebody else's taillights because it makes it easier for me. And like when I'm on the sim, I prefer following someone. I watch their braking points, and then I'll see, well, I could probably brake a little bit later than that. I use them as a reference in a live sort of demo of what is actually happening with the track. And also it just keeps you company, the amount of times, and this is why I struggle as a sim racer, is that my brain is like all over the place all the time. And I find, no word of a lie, I like doing endurance racing, but my brain switches off. I'll be on autopilot doing that as Denise Pope have a huge moment on the grass there. I'll be halfway in a stint, right? And then suddenly I'm into a wall because I've zoned out and I've not been paying attention to what I'm doing. I can't explain why I do it, but it just happens. Whereas if you've got cars around you, it helps you stay alert. It helps you stay focused, as you said, on what you're doing. Yeah.
My race pace is always better than my qualifying pace for that very reason. Because I've got other cars around me to follow, and it's always a bonus if you're actually battling with that car, as opposed to just following somebody disappearing off into the distance because they're just so much faster than you. But yeah, it's great. You want to have battles like this, like we're seeing with Denise Pope and Josie Austin, because it's great for everybody.
Wild! Josie Austin clipped the curb, power slid round the corner. Denise Pope took advantage of that and just says, yeah, thanks very much, and just drove right round the outside.
Yeah, but with a wheel on the grass the entire time. So just an absolutely fantastic move there from Denise Pope. Wild Things Racing named, very well earned with that move there. So absolutely fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, that was awesome. And Josie going very deep into the corner, obviously wanting to try and take that position back there. We were also seeing there, we were treated to a little bit of a fight there between Maren Edwards and Maya Laferla. So Maren Edwards, I believe, now up into P2 there. Maya was trying to get that position back there, but we caught the tail end of it. So Maren Edwards now starting to open up that gap now, 1.5 seconds. But we come down to the final 6 minutes then of our final race of the season here. More Female Racers Season 6, powered by Mercedes-AMG. We're watching the battle for 7th and 8th place. This, though, is Catherine Rosie just ahead of Skylar Vixen. Now, this isn't for class. This is just for the hell of it, basically, because these two have had a rough race, it's fair to say. But Catherine Rosie just ahead as Skylar Vixen, I think trying to nudge that car out the way a little bit there, but it's not going to happen because Catherine Rosie holds on to that position there, late onto the brakes there. But I think that's going to be Skylar Vixen trying to take way too much power into the corner. And I hope Charlotte Robertson didn't get caught up in that, and didn't got away with it. And well, that was a proper power slide round the corner for Skylar Vixen. And if that had come off, that would look absolutely glorious, but it didn't. So yeah.
But it's one of those things of you've got to give it a go. It's the nature of learning. How this game and sport works. Of you gotta try it. See what happens. And so sometimes you're going to be able to pull it off. Sometimes you're not. But you got to find out.
Well, talking about finding out, what we just caught the tail end of there was Martin Edwards going face first into the wall. We're going to get a replay of it here, and I believe it was into barbecue turn 5 there. Car just clipping a little bit of the curb on the inside there, unsettles the car, goes into the wall, and that is going to demote Martin down into P3 in that battle. However, you've also then got to think of Teodora Kasanovic also looking like they want to get a piece of this as well. Now, here is the battle then for P4. Ruby Acosta having a fight off Penelope Dobbins. So Dobbins has lost that P4 from Ruby Acosta there, but Ruby Acosta coming under real pressure right now. Let's get another replay here of Skylar Vixen. This is earlier on, we saw just taking too much power into that corner, 2 wheels on the grass on the left hand side, and Sam, that's going to be a spin every day of the week.
Yeah, you know, just getting a bit of that grass, and that's pretty much your breaking point for coming into Cheetah as well. So, you know, cars don't brake very well on the grass. Hence why you've ended up facing them the wrong way. But I have just noticed a little bit further down the order, Maya Lafurla has retaken that position for Marin Edwards. So back up into P2 of the M-Class Championship. I was going to mention earlier that when Marin Edwards had gotten ahead of Maya Lafurla, that Theodora may have been thinking, yes, that's exactly what I want. Less points for Maya, you know, kind of takes the edge off of that incident that she had. But with Marin Edwards, Maya Lafurla retaking that position back for Marin Edwards, we are back with Lisa Louise in P1 of Maya Lafurla P2, and Theodora currently sitting in P4.
Certainly. 2 minutes left to go in the final race of the season here, Sam, and I guess now with a lot of the battles kind of ebbing away, we still possibly got one between Denise Pope and I believe Beata Bachenska is in the crosshairs next for them. But other than that, I mean, it's just been a wonderful season, hasn't it? Everything that we could have wanted to see, and I think that I know taking the win on the final race of the season sums it up. I'm devastated that we didn't have Alexa Gates out. Delighted by that round that we just saw a proper fight developing, and I think season 7, I want to see more of that. Yeah,
I would really love to see that battle pick up again between Alexa Gates and Honora Rose. It does seem to be that if, you know, Honora gets the clean run on the green flag, then it's job done. But you know, as we saw it at Watkins Glen, if she doesn't, and Alexa Gates does end up to just nose out into turn 1, Alexa Gates knows how to make that car a mile wide, and you know, make for a proper nails out fight for the entire race. And I would love to see that develop further in next season. I cannot wait.
It's going to be absolutely awesome, but the time ticking down, we're already on our final lap. That means that our race leader, Honora Roses, Trazione Integral, facing the wrong way round at the corner there. We're already on to turn 8, for our race leader. As the number 3 gingerly making their way through the rest of the course. Trazione Integrale there, recovering from that car, but the clock ticks down. 4, 3, 2, 1 as season 6 draws to a close. Your pro champion, though, it couldn't have had it any other way for the final round, as Denise Pope there limping out of turn number 5 there. I think there might have been a little bit of contact with the wall, indeed. Denise Pope dropping down the order, but Honora Rose has had it all this season. Not quite all her own way, but has had pretty much the majority of the cake. Down into the final corner for the final time as Honora Rose comes out to take the checkered flag, and to take what has almost been a clean sweep here for season 6 of More Female Racers. Mia Rose in second place, Sarah Duff in third, and again it's just a couple of corners away now from Lisa Louise being confirmed as our AM champion.
Yeah, and just interesting to see the gap between the roses. Very, very different story than it was for race 1. Over 6.5 seconds of a gap back to Mia Rose, whereas in race 1, Mia was able to keep a little bit more of a grip on Honora's coattails, finishing 3 seconds back, but doubling that gap for the second round, and Sarah Dove finishing another 15 seconds back. So just goes to show the incredible pace that Honora Rose showed through this round.
Yep, but that's in the bag for Lisa Louise, your season 6 AM champion. Maya Laferla is going to come across the line in second place, and you're an absolute fool if you think I'm going to try and work out the standings off the top of my head. It's not happening. Sam Pearce was brave enough to give it a go. Even she threw in the towel with the final 10 minutes left to go here. It's going to be Martin Edwards in third position. Sam, that has been an incredible season. Obviously, we're going to get some post-race interviews, but yeah, that was just awesome stuff.
It was, yeah. Absolutely fantastic battling throughout. I'm really glad that this was decided, as you said, on track and not as a result of penalties or incidences or anything like that. That it was decided as it should be, on track, driver to driver.
Well, as we wait for the drivers to filter in, we get to reflect on what's been another fantastic night of racing. But again, what else can you expect here from More Female Racers? We've had 6 seasons of just incredible guiding light for females in sim racing, and long may it continue. I think round 1, obviously, we started at Zolder, we went off to Silverstone, then we were at Imola, Watkins Glen, and Kyalami, and again we have to think of how different that it could have been if we had the likes of Alexa Gates in tonight and able to get more out of the season than she was. But in all intents and purposes, Honora Rose with another incredible dominating performance from the pros as well. And well, there we go, we've got Honora and Mia in. So Sam, I think it's only fitting if we let you loose and have a chat with them both.
Okay. Right. Good evening, Mia Rose. Let's start with you. P2 in the races, both races this evening. How was the racing for you tonight?
Not full of practice. I moved recently, so the only practice I had was I think 30 minutes before the server went up for the first race. So. Better than what it could be, or what it could have been, but I'll take P2 in both races after that.
So when was then the plan to not fight too much with Honora and just play wingman, or were you just out to have a good time and what came?
In the first race, we sort of, I think we just sort of knew that if we just gapped the people behind at the start, then we could play around. But I don't think I ever got close to battling with her. And in the second race, I was pretty close, but then made a mistake into turn 1, and then through cheetah, got the curb and had to take the safe route out. But yeah, that second race was sort of kick myself on the track after I had that little mistake. But no, I think the plan really was just, don't try and take each other out, essentially, if we were to battle.
Yeah.
And,
In fact, during race 1, we spent a lot of time flirting. Which, in a way, when you're on open radio with your significant other, kind of count as fighting in a race?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's just that there was less physical contact and more vocal contact, if you know what I mean. But
Oh, but I would have loved to have listened in on that. That sounds like good fun. So Mia, are we going to see you for the next season?
I think that's a TBA on that one.
Okay. Well, we definitely hope to see you. It's absolutely fantastic watching you race, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Enore, congratulations. Almost a clean sweep. Just that one round and at Watkins Glen of taking the win. But
Yeah.
how are you feeling about the season as a whole?
Really good, actually. And I'll definitely be coming back for the next one if there's a next one. But yeah, really, really good. Did everything I set out to do, and yeah, just feeling really good about it.
Excellent. So how much practice were you able to put in for Kyalami before this evening?
For this one, actually, I didn't do much. Just made sure that the setup was drivable, and that was pretty much it.
Wow.
And actually, I think it went really well because I don't think there's much more to get out of the car in quali. Maybe a 10th, maybe 2 on a really, really perfect lap, but that was it. Just here, the car is really slow compared to other cars, which doesn't really matter in this championship, because it's one chassis only, but still, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, then that completely blows my mind. David and I were commenting during the race on your insane level of consistency that, just lap after lap after lap in the 41s consistently. And, when we were, commentating on the amount of practice that it takes to get to that level, knowing that you came into the race without very much practice, beforehand for this particular round. But out of curiosity, I mean, how often do you drive Kyalami to be able to get that level of consistency throughout an entire race?
Actually, kind of really often, because it tends to come back fairly often in sim racing leagues. So yeah, it's just one of the things, practice carries, and yeah, you don't just forget the track by the next time you come there.
No.
Also, what really helped consistency-wise was the setup. The setup, maybe it's not optimal, I don't know. Basically, what I did was I took the Watkins setup, which was already, I really liked it. I stiffened it up a bit, and that was it, basically.
Okay.
Bit of luck there, but yeah, not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. Definitely not. Right. Well, thank you very, very much for some fantastic racing throughout the season. Very, very much look forward to seeing you for next season. Congratulations on your championship win.
For next season, actually, I've offered, in case anybody in the audience wants to join in because of this, for next season, I've offered to do a bit of coaching for anyone who wants to do it.
Brilliant.
I want to talk about it with the SimGrid higher-ups a bit much, to see if maybe there is a partnership to be had with like another service that provides telemetry. So maybe we can work on that, but yeah, we'll see. And before going, I just want to point out a bit of something about our livery, is that maybe some people saw it, maybe they saw the announcement pre-season, is that on one side of the car we have the name Eden, and on the other we have the name Brianna. Brianna was a teenage trans girl which was murdered in the United Kingdom earlier this year. Eden was a trans woman that was murdered in Saudi Arabia, and there's not much we can do in that regard as a race team, but I feel like the least we can do is keep saying their names so that nobody else can forget about them, because if it's not gonna be trans people that do it, who else is it gonna be? And right now, especially in some countries like the United States, the situation is looking quite dire, so we thought it was the least we could do. We chose these two names because they were rather big cases that shocked a lot of people, even trans people, even though we know how bad it can get. There's we don't really have the space, to put all the names we would have wanted to put. Not to mention that a lot of trans people getting murdered are misreported or not reported at all. So, yeah.
No, it's fantastic to be able to draw attention to that. So, thank you very, very much, and we very much look forward to seeing you in again. Thank you very much. All right.
See you next season. Bye.
And finally, we shall bring in Lisa Louise. Lisa, good evening. How are you?
Good. Oh, sweating just a little bit, but I will not be happy. I'm so pleased.
Oh, brilliant.
Had a bit of drama in the second place there because my wheel disconnected second lap in.
You disconnected during the second lap?
Yes, I completely lost all my direct drive and force feedback, and lucky enough it came back 2 corners later, so that was a bit of a start stopper.
Wow. Oh my god. Wow. That has got to be just... That's got to be a scary experience to have your wheel die in the middle of a race. So, yeah, so glad it came back. And well done. Wow. So, how much practice were you able to put in for this evening?
I was able to put a bit more in the last race, but Kyalami is one of my Marmite tracks. I like the track, but I've just never had pace around here, and so I had to put quite a lot of practice in just to get somewhere remotely close. So I was pleased to have the pace I did in the race.
And kind of coming into the race, and were you mindful of the various championship positions behind you, who you were fighting with, and everything like that, or were you just concentrating on your race?
Oh, very much so. I was been missing one of the other girls, and she said, "Oh, you need to finish so and so to take the championship." Like, oh my god, I don't want that playing on my mind. So, so I was quite conscious of it. But lucky enough, I had my team manager on board in the engineer chat with me today, Mark Paddenbury from Positive Perception.
Oh, he was in YouTube chat with us as well, keeping us abreast of how you were doing. So yeah, pulling double duty.
Yeah, so he was keeping me calm in my ears. So thanks to him for keeping me calm today. So.
Yes, it's always great having a calming effect of having an engineer in your ear during a big race like this. So it's great to hear. And will we see you next season out?
Oh, definitely. Yes. Definitely.
Oh, brilliant! Love to hear it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for giving us some excellent racing throughout the season. Enjoy the break. Enjoy celebrating your championship win. And we look forward to seeing you in the next season.
Thank you very much. And great to watch the streams back as well. You've done an amazing job this season. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Lisa. All right, then. Have fun. Well...
There we go. Another season comes to an end, and final thoughts then, Sam. But it is sad, isn't it? Because as commentators, we get so attached to these championships, and we just enjoy watching how they all unfold.
Yeah, and in having a season come to an end like this, on such a high, such a positive note. Just makes us look forward to then the next season, it's going to be really, really interesting to see, what potentially, comes out. The gesture that Anora made, obviously, details have to be ironed out and discussions need to be had in the background. But that's going to be amazing if that does come up happening. So I think that in itself is going to make next season very, very interesting to watch, to see, benefits of coaching. They really, really make a massive difference. So very, very fascinated to see the outcome of that. And just, the general racing as we get it. We've had 6 seasons of this now. It's been exciting every single season, or else we wouldn't keep running them. And I'm just can't wait to see what next season brings.
Well, that is exactly what we are all waiting for with anticipation. Just to very quickly wrap up and go through the standings then. First, second and third for both the classes. Anora Rose taking that Pro Championship, with Sarah Dove actually taking second place from Alexa Gates. Remember, these are provisional based on the results of round 5. Lisa Louise is your AM champion ahead of Mila Ferla and Teodora Kasonovic, who were, get this, tied on 147 points each. Maya squeezes it because of the performance all through the season. So an amazing finish.
Wow.
But that is all we have time for. All we've got left to say is a huge thank you to our commercial partners, as always, to Coach David Kyalami, to the SimGrid, and to Mercedes-AMG. A huge thank you to Sam Pearce and to the incredible team that we've had here through the season, including Michael Hamlet and Mike Yao. And of course, the MVP herself, Ash Vandelay, who I am just doing my job and stepping in for throughout the season as well. But more importantly, thanks to you at home for watching, keeping us company through the season. I've been David Christie. On behalf of everyone here at the SimGrid, we will see you for Season 7.